Hey guys, thanks for coming back to my channel. It's Kevin here and it's good to see you. Wish everybody a happy new year. Getting this started, this video, right after the new year, so I don't know when I'm gonna upload it, but it's the beginning of January, so what better time to film my top 10 tree fragrances with personal fragrance. Of course, I did one of those with my top 15 all-time tree fragrances for home fragrance. So let's also do that and focus on personal fragrance in this video. I've got 10 here in this list, and really during this time of year, probably December and January, that's really when I focus on tree fragrances. And this video is probably going to be more, have more interest for the men, I would say. Because most of these are masculine. I'd say all of these are masculine leaning fragrances, but also I do know some of you women find this type of scent profile sexy on a man too, so maybe this could be a video for you as well if you're thinking about getting something for the special someone in your life, or anyone for that matter. If you're getting something, a fragrance for a special someone in your life that is drawn to these more masculine, woodsy fragrances, that scent profile. I've got 10 of them here in this list to talk about. I've got an extremely varying range here of prices, and I'll start off with the ones that are on the lower end of the spectrum first. And I think I have it split up half and half, I wanna say. Nope, I've got 4 that are more on the lower end, and then I've got 6 that are on the higher end. So we're just gonna start off with one of the all-time classic cheapies. This one right here from Lalique. It is, of course, Encore Noir All Extreme. And this one is really focused on the vetiver, but as far as the tree note that goes in this one, it's cypress. So it's a cypress and vetiver combination. There is a little bit of a medicinal feeling to this fragrance when you first spray it on. It is perfect for this time of year though. And as far as the quality of this fragrance, the quality of the entire line, the Encore Noir line from Lalique, it reaches way above its price value as far as what you're gonna pay for the fragrance, comparing it to how the fragrance feels. The price value for this one and this entire line, I'm talking Encore Noir, the extreme version and the sport version, all really kind of focused around that kind of cypress note and just doing them in different ways. But this one, cypress and vetiver, for me, that is gonna kick off this list of my top 10 tree fragrances. We're gonna move from that one to another very inexpensive fragrance. It's this one right here, and it is Midnight Oud. And this one is from Ard Al Zafaran, and I always butcher that name. I'm never gonna get any better at it. But this is a fragrance that gets a lot of comparisons to Amouage Interlude Man. Now, as some of you know, that's a fragrance that you're gonna pay $150 in some places, even upwards of $200 in other places, depending on where you buy it. It's a really heady kind of woody scent. An oudy fragrance. It's one that really does kind of focus around oud, smoke, leather, a popanax. So a very resinous, balsamic, woody fragrance. The tree note though, in this one that it is centered around is oud. And it is a little bit on the sweeter side of the fragrances that I have in this category. I mean, so immensely close to something like Interlude Man. I mean, you can spend hundreds of dollars for something like that, or you could spend under 15 US dollars and just get this, the 50 ml bottle. That's the number 2 fragrance in my top 10 list of tree fragrances. Of course, this list is not numbered or ranked or anything like that. We're gonna go from that one to another cheapie, and it's been in the community for a while, just like Encore Noir All Extreme. It's this one right here from Bentley. It is For Men Absolute. And this is a fragrance that gets a lot of comparisons to Gucci Pour Homme. And of course, that makes a lot of sense. It's the same perfumer. And Gucci Pour Homme is now discontinued and has been for several years. And this one is not. So it is much easier to find and gonna cost a lot less than Gucci Pour Homme would. They are extremely Extremely similar fragrances, really centered around that dry, cedary note. Almost a smoky feel to the fragrance as well. Papyrus and olibanum are two notes as well that are going to provide a little bit of a green resinous feel to the fragrance as well. I mean, just so similar to Gucci Pour Homme. I know there are collectors out there. I'm one of them too. So yeah, if you're not a collector, really owning this one instead of Gucci Pour Homme is probably the way to go. That is number 3 in this list. For men, Absolute from Bentley, focusing around the note of cedar, the tree note of cedar. And then the last cheapie that I have, or at least the last fragrance in this list that really isn't gonna break the bank for you, it's this one right here from Calvin Klein, and that is Eternity, the Eau de Parfum. Now this is not the Eau de Toilette, this is the Eau de Parfum that was released a few years ago. I wanna say this was released in 2019, I think. Now this one again, just like Encre Noir All Extreme, is focusing around the note of cypress. But there are a lot more fresh notes in this fragrance as compared to something like Encre Noir All Extreme. Sage and even a fruity apple, even some lavender here in this as well. It is going to kind of harken back to the original Eternity, the Eau de Toilette concentration. So it's going to feel very designer-ish, very easy to wear. Something I would compare this to is, of course, the original Eternity, but also Romance for Men, around that kind of scent profile, in that style of tree fragrance for men. Another really inexpensive choice here as far as masculine tree fragrances, and that one is focused around the note of cypress. That is number 4 in this list. Let's move on to the ones that are a little bit more out of that price range, and for the more devoted fans of tree fragrances and even perfume collectors like myself. The first one is this one right here, Timbuktu. And of course, this is the old style bottle from the Artisan. This one is gonna be centered around the note of papyrus. And this one has kind of made its claim to fame with the note of mango. So being combined with that green kind of balsamic resinous papyrus, mango gives a little bit of a juiciness to it. I actually consider this one quite dry though. It does have a good bit of vetiver in it as well. Some vetiver to go along with that mango, some spices, and also some incense. So there is a very dry smokiness to this fragrance. Now, I have not tried the recent formulation of this, the new bottle style of this fragrance. A lot of people have complained that it has been neutered over the years. All I can really go from is what I've experienced with this one. You know, of course, let your bottle open up. I've got a good amount there out of this bottle. That mango, I really wish it did stand out more. It does provide a little bit of a juiciness, but overall, I would say Timbuktu comes across as a very dry, even kind of green, smoky fragrance. From that one, we're gonna go for a twofer here from Tom Ford. Of course, he's always done tree fragrances very well. This one right here, Vert d'Encens, and this one right here, one of the newer ones, Ebony Fume. We're gonna kind of combine these two. Of course, Vert is no longer being produced and it is discontinued, but it is one of the most natural, authentic green fragrances, green tree fragrances that I have ever smelled. And for me, Vert d'Encens is really kind of focused around balsam and pine. Some resins too, even some smokiness. The green feel of this fragrance, the green feel of the tree in this fragrance is so Tom Ford. I mean, it is so reminiscent of many other tree fragrances that he's done in the past, even other green feeling fragrances that he's done. Really, the entire Vert line that is now discontinued has a little bit of this in it. From top to bottom, every one of them has this kind of dry, almost sweet kind of feeling of the tree fragrance. But balsam is one of those scent notes that, as far as personal fragrance goes, we don't often get that one. I don't really have any that I could consider being worthy of being put in a top 10 like this, but Vert d'un Sens, that one right there from Tom Ford, gonna be a little bit harder to get your hands on, but this one right here is not hard. Ebony Fume, this one is centered around the note of Palo Santo. And I know there are a lot of lovers of Palo Santo out there, even the women. I can kind of attest to that one. A lot of y'all really do seem to love that kind of smokiness, that kind of smoky tree note that is all the rage in home fragrance nowadays. It's right here in Ebony Fume. You also do have a little bit of resins and some smoky incense in this one as well. Now this one also has a little bit of a touch of a leathery feel to it to go along with that Palo Santo and that smokiness. Even something that kind of comes across as a very easy to wear oud, I can kind of pick that up here. But yeah, it's mostly focused on that Palo Santo. That ebony wood, Gaiac wood, I think is also a note in this one. Ebony Fume from Tom Ford. Love the color of that juice. It tells you all you need to know. Be ready for one that really does go on thick and resinous and woodsy and masculine. From that, we're going to By Kilian. This one right here, Light My Fire. Now, this one for me is all about the cedar. It's a very similar cedar note to something like Straight to Heaven. They have that in common, I feel like. The notes surrounding them are a little bit different. As far as the overall profile, I feel like they are very similar fragrances. There is the note of tobacco in Light My Fire as well. A little bit of a smoky feel to it. And of course that cedary note, a little bit of a birch too. So I would say cedar and birch are the two tree fragrance notes here that I'm really picking up with this one. You've also got some tonka beans, some honey to add to the sweetness, a little bit of florals in this as well, but it doesn't come across as floral at all. A very dry woodiness. That's really why I think cedar and the note of birch are both playing a huge role in this one. That is Light My Fire from Kilian as my 8th fragrance in this list. Number 9, again, we're not ranking these at all. I'm just kind of counting down here as we go. Probably the most authentic pine sap fragrance that I have in this list from Profumum Roma. It is this one right here, Arso. I mean, I adore it. I adore that authenticity of it. I don't know how people feel smelling it around me. You know, when I go out in public wearing this one, I'm not sure if it's a huge hit or if people just want to stay away. I don't know. It's very authentic though. I will hand it to them here with this one, Arso. They did a great job of actually recreating the smell of pine and woods and pine sap. Even a little bit of a smoky resinous feel to this one, but trust me, this is 100% centered around that pine and that sweet sappy feel of the pine as well. And the last one I have for my top tree fragrances for this time of year, for the month of January and probably December as well, is this one from Zaharoff. It is Signature Pour Homme. Now this one is all about cypress as far as the woodsy note, but I also get a lot of pine. It feels like wearing a Christmas tree in a barber shop. That's what I would use to describe this one with. I mean, very fougere feeling, very smoky, very masculine. I mean, a good amount of balsamic smokiness in this one. Maybe even a little bit of oud meets patchouli as well. Oh God, that's so good. If I weren't wearing Arso right now, I'd spray this one on. Yeah, a great December fragrance. I feel like I smell like a Christmas tree when I spray that one on. There you have it, guys. That's my top 10 tree fragrances for personal fragrance. Let me know, because I'm always looking to try something else out and try something new. Let me know what your absolute favorites are for this category. I am gonna have my top 2023 fragrance list coming up here pretty soon. Keep your eyes peeled for that one. Appreciate you guys watching. I'll talk to you soon. See ya.